Broke. Let's start at the very bottom, where most people never admit they've been. Blinds closed, phone on silent, no suitcase, no flight. This is the vacation, the living room, for 7 straight days. Not because he wants to stay, because leaving costs money he doesn't have. One treat maybe. Takeout, once, guiltily. Everything else measured, counted, watched. The fridge gets checked twice before deciding what counts as a treat this week. A candle lit just to make the room feel like somewhere else for an hour. The curtains stay shut so the neighbors don't ask why the car hasn't moved all week. The world outside keeps moving. He just doesn't follow it this week. There's a version of rest that isn't rest at all. It's waiting. Waiting for the account to refill. Waiting for the next paycheck to make the choice for him again. He tells people he just wanted to relax this year. Nobody asks any further. Nobody ever does. And some small part of him is grateful they didn't. Here's the part that stings the most. He isn't lazy. He isn't careless with money. He's simply out of runway. And this is what a week off looks like when there's nothing left to spend it on. A week of silence, dressed up as a choice. One tear up, and something changes. Economy. Small, but real. A budget airline, a middle seat, recycled air for 4 hours nobody's excited about, an all-inclusive resort, booked 6 months early to catch the deal before it disappeared. Not the cleanest room or the most exciting, but it's something. Drinks with little umbrellas, a buffet that never seems to run out. It isn't luxury, it's relief. A week where nothing is measured for once. He takes a photo of the ocean view and sends it to 3 people. Not to brag, just to prove for a moment that he made it somewhere further than last year. That the money went somewhere real this time, instead of disappearing into rent and bills nobody ever sees a photo of. There's a quiet ritual here too, checking the exchange rate before buying anything, doing the math in his head before ordering a second drink, then ordering it anyway, just this once, because it's supposed to be a vacation, and vacations are supposed to feel different. But here's what nobody says out loud. Even here, there's a number in the back of his mind. A budget he doesn't mention to anyone at the pool. He does the math quietly. Every single time a drink shows up he didn't technically order. He's not struggling. Not the way the man in the locked-up living room is. But he's not free either. He's just far enough from empty to stop thinking about it, for exactly 7 days, before the number starts mattering again the moment he lands. Because the tier above him doesn't think about numbers the same way at all.
Business.
A glass of champagne before the plane even leaves the ground. An itinerary planned to the hour. Museums by morning. A reserved table by night. Nothing here is left to chance. Every moment already has a plan behind it. This is where vacations stop being an escape and start becoming a performance. A life, curated, on display, even to no one but himself. He checks the itinerary one more time before bed. Not because he's worried, because checking is the only part of this that still feels like control, in a week where everything else has already been arranged by someone else. There's a car waiting at every airport, a reservation confirmed weeks in advance, in a language he doesn't speak, at a restaurant he found through someone else's recommendation, not his own search. He posts one photo, just one, carefully chosen, enough to say something without saying too much. The caption takes longer to write than the moment itself lasted, and somewhere behind all of it, quietly, there's still a spreadsheet. Still a limit he doesn't mention out loud, even at this level. He's comfortable. He's not untouchable. There's still a version of this trip he couldn't afford, sitting one tier above him, that he chose not to look at too closely. Because above this, something changes completely. Above this, the spreadsheet disappears entirely, and so does the idea of a schedule at all. 3 tiers down, 2 left to go. And the next one doesn't just spend differently. It stops thinking about money the way anyone below it ever has, in any tier, on any trip, at any point in their lives. Something changes again above business class. And this is where it stops looking like anything most people will ever experience in a single lifetime.
Wealthy.
A private villa. An infinity pool that reflects nothing but sky. A chef who already knows what he likes before he's asked. First class the entire way there. Lie flat seat, noise gone. The whole world gone quiet. The staff move around him like weather, present but never spoken to unless he wants them to be. A door opens before he reaches it. Nobody asks if everything is okay, because nothing here has ever had the chance to be otherwise. No itinerary here, no alarm, no plan at all. Because at this level, planning isn't freedom anymore. Not planning is. The days blur together in a way that would terrify someone lower down this list. But up here, blurring is the whole point. Tuesday and Friday feel identical, and nobody bothers correcting anyone who mixes them up. He doesn't check his phone for updates. There's nothing left to check. Every possible need was answered before he even thought to ask it. The version of comfort most people spend a lifetime chasing is simply the starting point here, the floor, not the ceiling. There's still a version of wealth above this one though, and it doesn't behave like wealth at all anymore. It behaves like something else entirely. 4 tiers down, 1 left. And this last one doesn't just spend more. It doesn't operate on the same rules as everything you've just watched. And then there's the last one. The one that barely feels human anymore.
Billionaire.
A private jet. No terminal. No line. No fixed time to leave. It leaves when he's ready, and not a second before. There's no boarding pass, no gate number. Just a phone call, an hour's notice, and a runway waiting exactly where he told it to be. The destination isn't even decided yet. Not really. It gets chosen somewhere over the ocean, mid-flight, on a whim that costs more than most people make in a year, decided the way someone else might choose a restaurant. Somewhere down below, someone in business class is checking an itinerary for the 3rd time tonight, making sure nothing gets left to chance. Up here, chance is the entire plan, and nobody's written a single thing down. Nobody checks a calendar here. Nobody checks anything, actually. Time, at this level, has quietly stopped meaning what it means for everyone else on this list. It isn't spent, it's simply arranged wherever he happens to be standing. The only decision left, at the very top, is which house, on which coast, to land at when the sky finally runs out. Here's the part that should unsettle you. Every single one of these 5 people came home and said the exact same sentence. It felt good to get away. The house changed. The plane changed. The number of zeros changed completely. But the feeling underneath every single one of them stayed exactly the same, word for word, no matter what tier they came from. Think about that for a second. All that distance, all those zeros, all that effort, spent climbing from one tier to the next, chasing a feeling the man at the very bottom already had access to, in his own living room, for free, on day 1. He didn't need the villa. He didn't need the jet. He needed 7 days where nobody could reach him. And he had that, even with the blinds shut, even with the fridge half empty, even with nothing to post about at all. Nobody tells you that on the way up. It isn't in the brochure. It isn't in the private jet's welcome speech either. Nobody at any tier warns the one below them that the finish line doesn't move the way they think it does. The man in business class assumed the villa would feel different. The man in the villa assumed the jet would feel different. And the man on the jet, if you asked him quietly, might tell you the truth nobody else on this list wants to hear. It didn't. It never does, past a certain point. There's a ceiling, invisible, unmarked, where more money stops buying more relief and starts just buying more distance instead. Nobody puts up a sign to warn you when you've crossed it. Which means the real difference between a man in a locked-up living room and a man in a private jet over the ocean was never the feeling he was chasing. It was only ever how far he had to travel to reach it. 5 people, 5 vacations, 1 feeling, hiding in every single one of them, refusing to scale no matter how much money got thrown at chasing it. The living room had it. The jet had it. The distance in between was never the point, even though every tier on this list quietly believed it was. So which one are you? If this made you rethink what you're actually chasing, hit like and subscribe. More of this every week.